Hello, everyone. This is Rashmi, and today we have another very exciting session. And this time we have someone who's going to talk about the present generation, the Gen Z, and the millennials. So I think this is going to be of very importance and significance to all of us because this is who is going to enter the workplace, and they are going to define the work in the corporates, to a great extent. So we have three generations actually, who are going to interact: the Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. And to help us out with this, we have Vijay. Vijay is Vajayanti Srinivasan. So hello, Vijay. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much, Rashmi. And it's happy to catch up with you after a long time. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sparing your time and coming here. And just to introduce Vijay, Vaijayanti Srinivasa Raghavan, as we call Vijay, currently leads the GBS Business Associates program and WFM operations and strategic initiatives. An IBM certified delivery project executive with industry experience of over 27 years, plus years in fact, in project management and vendor management and knowledge management in diverse and global environment. She is an accomplished public speaker in industry forums, author of the bestseller Shape It. And I must say, you must read that book. It's a great book, especially if you are in a student or into academics, or even if you're from the corporate world. And she has also been recognized with various awards, including Women on the Rise Award and Women Achiever of the Year 2020 by Women in Science and Engineering Forum. On the academic front, she is a gold medalist from the University of Madras in her engineering, and then went on to pursue multiple programs to sharpen her skills from E. Cornell, Kent State, and the latest being Masters in Business Analytics from BITS Pilani this year. So quite a bit, Vijay, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah. So for the audience, this is going to be a three-part series, and today is going to be the first part, and we're going to deal with the present generation and how is it going to be for them in the workplace. So to help us out, we have Vijay. So Vijay, can you just tell us what are the three? We talk about millennials. We've heard this so much. And now we're talking about Generation Z. So what is this all about? So can you help us out with this?
Absolutely. I think just to set the context here, I thought I will have one slide to set the context and then we will get on to the dialogue or the conversation more. So just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen now for that one slide that I plan to show it to all of you, right? So let me do that. Okay. So just to set the context, as Rashmi was asking, what are the different generation that we come across at the workplace? And it's very interesting to see that there are multi-generation at workplace, and primarily we see four generations that we are going to uh, give a quick overview about. The first generation that we see at the workplace today who are at the executive level, and some of them are in the verge of the retirement. We call them as the baby boomers, and those are the people who were very well conversant with write to me and you come and meet me kind of a people, and more of a face connect kind of a people. The second set of generation that came within the organization are the people we call them as a Gen X, like people like me, who are in the late 40s and maybe the early 50s, born between 65 and 1980s primarily. But I am a Gen X in this system, or at the workplace. Typically, we are the people who like that you call me over the phone, I will talk to you, and so on and so forth. So that's the kind of generation that we belong to. Interestingly, in the last few years, I would say 10 to 15 years, we have seen Gen Y more at the workplace. And these are the people who are born between 1981 and 1994. And they have gotten into the workplace they started at the entry level. We hired them from the campuses. They are pretty much very young people who came into the workforce, started blending along with the baby boomers and the Generation X. Now that's the generation that possibly will now shift to a next generation. Now that is happening is Gen Z. Now you will be asking me a question, Rashmi, why the word called Gen Z? Interestingly, the USA Today um, um, conducted a contest of how do we call the next set of generation after Gen Y. So there were a lot of ideas that came up with because X, Y, and typically the Z is the next one that comes up into the mind. So they said it is iGen, somebody called it as. Then they call it a centennial. Now, then they said Gen Z resonates well with the people. So that's how the Gen Z name came up. And these are the generation of people who are typically born around 1995 and beyond. Even today, my son belongs to a Gen Z generation. And interesting part of this generation is they are more of a tech kind of a people. You see them all the time on some kind of a devices or an electronic devices where they communicate with one another. So this is the kind of four different generation that we are dealing at workplace. And Gen Z is the one that is likely to come up more in the coming years into the workforce, because the first set of people came in last year in 2019, and the second lot of people are still coming in into the system. So this is how the workplace is dealing with a multi-generation at the workplace. It's a very interesting situation to be in for people like me, who are going to see this transformative years within the organization, and how we are going to deal with some of them. So this is what it is in terms of the generation, the question that you asked me.
Yeah. And so Vijay, so this is very exciting. But when I see this, when you're explaining this, can there be someone who's actually born in a Gen Y or a Gen X and still be, in the mode of a Gen X could also be a Gen Y, because, they were born ahead, because they were born in a culture which was way ahead, and others were catching up, so it could still be a mix, because I somehow see myself as a blend of Gen X and Gen Y. So even though, could that also, and maybe even the baby boomers, so could that also be with the Gen Z, that they are a mix of all the three, and it's not that you slot them in one particular category?
It's a very interesting question that you are asking, right? So before I answer that question, there is one question I need to answer here is how these generations are being typically bracketed, right?
Hmm.
They are not bracketed based on the age. They
Hmm.
are bracketed based on the demographic change and the technology change.
Hmm.
And interestingly, the Gen Z came in, just to highlight a little more before I get on to the question, can I be a Gen X or a Gen Y? Gen Z are the people who started coming up in the era of internet.
Hmm.
And if you look at the millennials, they typically were at the time when the dial-up was coming up, when the 9/11 happened, another major catastrophic event happened. But now you look at Gen Z, they will talk about internet. The other one they will talk about is the current pandemic that is going on, right? That is how
Yes.
the whole situation describes the next generation. Now, with the generation Z, interestingly, the time of their birth, they had some device in hand, and that is the world that they know of. If you ask me, can we fit into a Gen X or a Gen Y or a Gen Z if I am a baby boomer? Or if I'm a Gen X, can I fit in Gen Y and Gen Z? Absolutely, yes. That is precisely what is happening in the corporate world, where people like us are trying to get or trying to understand what exactly is this generation, and how do we really kind of fine tune our policies around this generation, because the characteristic and expectations are way different than what we used to have in those days, right? And that's very logical too, right? If I were to give an example, if I have to apply for a phone connection, I am still a Gen X. When my dad used to apply, it used to take 10 years to 5 years for a landline to come in. Then came the next generation of millennials, where they had a waiting period probably of a week. And today, when you get into any kind of a mobile shop, the expectation is within a couple of minutes, my phone has to be up and running. I need to have the connectivity. I'm on the go, right? That's the kind of generation, and definitely we can be part of them, and we can call that I am part of them, because we started embracing the newer generation, because we also are dealing with our children who are typically a Gen Z, and some of them have Gen X as well. Baby boomers have Gen X, and we have millennials at home. So I think if you're able to manage them at home, and you're understanding them, you're working closely with the universities, I see that the acceptance levels of newer generation is much broader. So that is what I would say. Yes, we can, but we still would be called as a Gen X. We will not be called as a Gen Y or a Gen Z, but we will be called it. We are ready to accept the newer generation. I think that's how we will be put forward as, right? So
Yeah.
that's my perspective.
Yes, and so coming to the students who are passing, graduating now. So Vijay, how is it going to be for them? How is the corporate I mean, are there any challenges that these youngsters face when they join the industry? And does the industry also face a lot of issues because they have come and you still have a lot of other older generations? So what is the major thing for challenge for the Gen X and Gen Y and Gen Z when they enter the workplace?
Okay, I just want to take this question as a two-part question again, because very interesting question. Thank you for asking questions. Um, I came across a beautiful survey recently by a company called Happy Format, and this is a company which is in Europe. There is a lady by name Lawrence who had done an extensive study around this area of Gen Z and Gen Y in particular. The initial findings suggested there are 3 to 4 things they have as an expectation. And one of them is they want to be social. The social, in the sense, they want to be connected with people in some form or the fashion. And the second is they are very clear about that they want to have multiple careers. It's not that you can, when we started our career or the job, we used to call it as a job. Now we call them as career because the career has a different connotation than the job. So they want to have multiple careers. When I say that I can have a career of 9 to 12 p.m., I want to do a certain set of work. I want to be a developer. Then possibly in the second half of the day, I want to go and possibly go and teach somewhere, right? I can have multiple careers. That's exactly what this generation are looking at. And third thing they look at as part of the finding is they want a variety in the task. They don't want to do the same mundane activity. If you start giving them the same thing over and over again, they get very bored. That was the third big finding that they came up with. The fourth was very interesting. They want an instantaneous rewards and recognitions. And more so, there is a reason behind that. These all the four had a reason. And the rewards and recognition is a very important factor because today, when you look onto your mobile phone, the instant gratification that you get when you wake up in the morning is a message from your friend or a likes that you have on your Facebook and social media. And that's how this generation has been growing up. So these four characteristics are defining the newer generation, whom we call as Gen Z. Now, is this good or bad? That's a question that comes. But I think this generation is going to be the people who are going to change the way the technology is going to change, the consumer market is going to change. They are going to be the making the most decisions in the coming days. So it is high time that it not only they coming into workplace and adjusting to the workplace, dealing with the 3 other generations at workplace. It's time for us also to start looking from the perspective of Gen Z, because if rewards and recognitions are going to be the motivational factor for them, how do you bring in that aspects in our interactions and day-to-day interactions with them, right? That's one thing consciously many organizations are looking at. Today you will see the social media, the YouTubers and influencers whom we call as become more and more. Now you will see more interactions through the video and more interactions through these events. The digital events are going to be more and more, which you and me were never comfortable in the early on days, right?
Yes.
So the problem is we are thinking that they have to adjust, but I think we also will have to adjust. Now the point is, how do they adjust? When I say they, Gen Z to adjust, there are few things that are really challenging for the Gen Z when they come at work. The first thing we see is that flexibility. When I say flexibility, the flexibility in terms of your work and the workplace, because many times we see that you would be asked to take up certain tasks, but you will be having a completely different view on it. So many times we end up convincing the generation that Z that you take it up, And as you move up in your career, you bring in your ideas on the table and how you can bring a new perspective in the work through the technology, right? I think that is where one of the big challenge lies in terms of the flexibility. The second thing that we see is that many times they get disheartened very fast because there is a need for an instant gratification and reward. Sometimes when they don't get it, uh, there is a time where we have seen that they have to accept that there will be some downtime in your life, which you have to start accepting, and you have to bounce back. And that's exactly what they have to learn. So it is also because the way they have brought up in the education system, in the family, because this is a generation where we have never let them fall and get up. Before they could fall, we held their hand.
Yeah.
Particularly in India, in our culture, we said you get it. Before you even ask, you had everything with you, right? So I
Yeah.
think part is the environment, and of course in the workplace they have to accept to fall down and get up, and then they have to move. That's the reason if you look March with a belief, that the reason that today's session is more on that.
Yes.
You will have challenges, you will have a setback. Learn to accept that setback and then march forward, and you need to believe in yourself. That's exactly what this generation need to learn from the earlier generation. That's my viewpoint here, Rashmi.
Yeah, and Vijay, finally, your thoughts about, since this, because of this pandemic, maybe, it's more of their this thing, they're more comfortable with the digital platform and all that. But however, it's very scary also, right? Because I know for the students, the comfort of being, seeing each other, being with their peers, and go physically walking into the company and being inducted, all that is not going to happen maybe for most of them. So how do they actually take this forward? From this, I mean. You said they do have all these things in them, the characteristics, but with the present situation, how do they actually, like you said, march ahead, especially with COVID, and because they're all waiting for their offers, and they're very and let me tell you, Vijay, I've seen this in my students. They're quite scared, even though they don't tell it out. I've seen this thing happening. It's there, but they don't voice it out, and it comes very late. So any things that the things that they could do right now so that they can actually fit in over there.
Yeah, very, very good question. And you are asking to a mother who's dealing with a Generation Z. I have a son who is also going through a very similar situation. It's not that I'm not experiencing it. I too am experiencing it. But I can tell you how we are dealing with it, right? And how
Yeah.
the other students can deal with it. We look at it. If you look at the character, I'm going to tell how the characteristic of them can be a positive aspects to them as well.
Yeah.
If you look at today's generation, Gen Z in particular, you have a parent either who are a Gen X, or either you are having a parent who are a Gen Y, right? They might be schoolgoers. Now, Generation Z, or you might call it as an alpha, beta, there are different perspective coming about the next generation naming. I'm not getting there. But as we know, Gen Z are having parents who are either this one Gen X or a Gen Y. Now, if you look at the previous two generations, they have started accepting something. What is that? That now they know that you can take risk. That they have started accepting that you can start your own investment. You can have your own. You can be an entrepreneur. Because when I started my job, I think entrepreneurship was very unheard of, right?
Yes.
Possibly there was a wrong connotation that entrepreneurship. When I say I'm working for myself, they said it's another way to call it is an unemployment, right? That was a joke that was made. But
Yeah.
today, when somebody say I'm an entrepreneur, that's such a beautiful word and such a profound word. Because when I wrote the book Shape It, I think Rashmi, you were talking about the book. We came across so many Gen Y who were entrepreneurs who had their own organization by the time they were out of the college, and they came up with beautiful products and services, and now people are open to that, right? So as a Gen Z, you have one thing in to your advantage. That is, you have a parent who are going to be open to the idea of you becoming an entrepreneur. So you have to be a job giver and you have to help people and create those jobs. That is one thing that we keep telling in many forums. And second thing that we also tell the newer generation, given that you are in pandemic, what is that is technology that is it's advancing today. I always tell them, look at certain technologies, what is the predictions they have been making in the last few months. And I have been following one gentleman by name Bernard Marr, Bernard, and he has given some 9 predictions that possibly will be the way how the technology will decide the various disciplines of our industries. And the topmost one is your contactless interfaces, and that is very true today. That means people are scared to touch anything, and people don't want to touch anything. So, how your voice enabled systems are going to be more and more used than you going and touching certain things. So now the generation Z will have to think on the use cases, given that you are in the pandemic situation, how I can latch on to some of these ideas and the technologist viewpoint into some use cases that I can implement. That is the second thing that they have to do. Third thing that also I tell my son is internship might not be opening up that easy, right? It's going to take some amount of time because industry itself is reeling from what exactly is happening and what is that is going to be the way forward. Everybody is just kind of trying to understand it. So the only way that we can be making use of our time at this point is you have to, I'm not saying accumulate e-certificate. Absolutely, I won't say that. You will have to attend to the, I would say, equip yourself, go for higher education. But at the same time, you have to really understand. Don't go for heck of it. You don't accumulate the certificate, but you really have to see how do you really apply. Any education that can give you that perspective, go ahead and enroll, right? The other thing I was telling my son is doing is aerospace. The one idea that I have for him is everywhere is people are talking about data, and every industry is going to talk about data. There is no harm to go and invest some amount of time on studying the data science, and the business analytics, because that will some or the other way going to shape in making certain decisions, critical decisions for the business. So this is the advice I have for the student. Nothing to get disheartened. I see that even during the crises, you end up getting some opportunities. It's for us to make it operative, right? That's my viewpoint here. Right?
Yeah, Viji, thank you so much and sharing this positivity. And any last thoughts that you want to leave us with? You said you have something to show, some slide.
Yeah, I just want to leave with one small poetry for the students, because this is written by Gen X, and this is very close to my heart. And look at the positive perspective this person has given, or a positive twist the person has given. And this is precisely what I want each one of you to look at it, right? So I'm just going to share that in a bit. So if you look at the third paragraph here, it says that march with a belief, right, as it can move mountains. As such is the beauty of the times and crises. When it shakes you up and saddles up for a ride, for marching ahead is better than grounding to a halt. That is precisely the moment and thought process all of you have. Should I give it up? Please do not. March ahead with belief. That's one thing I want to call out. And the last lines resonate so well as well in this poetry is every problem you face, there has to a way for knowing it first is the half the battle played. Right? That is why we always tell the students your half the battle is won in the mind. And that's very, very important, because many times we give up, and you cannot give up. You have to march with a belief, and you have opportunity, and turn the crises into the opportunity. That's the final statement I have for them, for the newer generation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Viji. Rebounds and march ahead with belief. I think that sums up the whole thing. And I'll meet you again for the next part of it, where we're going to discuss about planning the way ahead And then, of course, we'll have another session where they can look within and not look out. So thank you so much.
Thank you.